Welcome back to Naval Action, and I thought I'd give you a bit of a rundown on how this new map works. If I sound a bit tired, it's because I've been on all bloody day today, and it's good fun. So there's quite a few things to get your head around with the new map, apart from the fact that Spain kind of own everything. 180 ports Spain start off with now with the reset after the patch. Let's see how that goes. So there's a few things you'll notice straight away as you move around the map. There's these white circles around all the regional capitals, and if you zoom in on it, where you see here South Keys, if you hover over one of the Keys, you'll see a white line, and the white line will always link it up to the capital. And if I hover here, I'll get two orangey lines, and that's the capital, and it links up with the other ports within its realm. So this is South Keys, Pedro Cay being the capital. It's a shallow water, you can see that just below to the right of the name Pedro Cay. So right now, if you wanted to capture this, which of course you wouldn't because it's British and His Majesty would be most upset, you would have to take a bunch of missions around Pedro Cay or do some PvP, kill some lovely Brits. That would eventually agitate this port, and then 46 hours for some reason, because Russians are Russian, you would then be able to engage in a port battle. Now there's lots more to the map. So firstly, the coordinates have now got a nice sort of backdrop colour to them rather than written in 6-point blurred font hidden in the top corner near the blue. You've got the time and the date, the server date and the server time. You get the same thing as you always do with the little circle around whichever port you're in. And so it's a free port, and when you hover on a free port nothing happens. This is the happy la la land where all the little newbies are learning to cut their teeth on each other. But what you can do is you can click more, and what a lot more you get. So first of all, it gives you you now get the legend up as to who owns what port. We'll start at the bottom actually, and this is just a little port search, or a county. They call the regions counties, which is very English incidentally. So if I was to type in, say, George, you can see it begins to filter for me, and George is a good one because there's like bloody millions of them. And then if you click the little dot, it's good enough to zoom you to that part on the map. So that's very nice, and it also works for the regions too. So even though I've typed in BERM, that isn't in flats, but it's inside Bermuda. So you can see the search there is a bi-directional search, both on the name of the port, but also on the name of the county or region, as most of us I'm sure will refer to it, and there is Georgetown. At the bottom there you'll see that there's hostility levels, and in this particular case there's been a few people trying to snaffle up St. George's Town and Bermuda, and Denmark Norge have pushed that to 100% hostility, which means in the next 48 hours, or probably now 40 hours, they'll be able to engage in a port battle there and try and take Bermuda from the lovely Brits, which is terrible, disgraceful behaviour. So that's the search. So the search is really good. That saves you having to have a second window and find things. We'll go to the trader tool next. Now the trader tool is really important. There's missions, I'll cover these later on, to do delivery missions. And the delivery missions can earn you a lot of money. I found one today where I was moving food supplies, and I would get $1 million if I delivered $1 million gold if I delivered 1,900 food supplies. So that's very handy. But what you can do is you can type anything you want in here. So we'll type in, say, live oak, because that's a precious commodity, and we'll search for live oak log. And now there's a few things it does that are kind of nice. Let me just get the map back to where I am at the moment. So firstly, there's this A, P, C. So C would tell you it consumes. There'd be a little dot there. There's no C's. P tells you it produces. or more importantly, players can produce it. And you'll see here there's only 2 ports that produce live oak. New Smyrna, which is just there, or Sunbury, which is just up the coast. Now, the really clever thing that they've done, and I like this, is they let you change the distance that you care about. So as I do this, it reduces the distance. If I focal on distance here, as I move around, I can basically find the, so if I leave it out here, so that's, 1100 knots, that's over to the side of map. But as I bring it back here, what happens is, we can keep, I'm not seeing any little dots, oh, there's some dots, so that tells me there's one 284 knots away, and that's Sunbury. If I click on that, it'll take me up to Sunbury there. But we can keep bringing it down, there you go, so that's 159k, that's the nearest. It would be nice if you could toggle these. I'd like it if you could just like click this as a toggle and then do other sorts. I'd also like it if you could toggle these so that it would only show me Swedish ports, for example. So just to go over that, the C means that the port consumes it, the P means that players can build factories there to produce it. Ports themselves don't produce things themselves anymore. And A means it's available. So if we type in something a little bit more frequently, if I type in coal, and let's just filter by distance. So what we'll see is here that it produces coal. It's available at this port. It does give us these prices. Now I don't know if they include contract prices or if they're simplified and they just show the port prices. As far as I've been able to tell, and we've only had it for a day, so as far as I've been able to tell, you do occasionally get like here, so it doesn't produce it West End, and it tells me there's some coal available there, so I suspect that means that AI ship has come in and dropped some coal off, because like I say, ports don't produce anymore. So that's the trader tool. It's really quite good if you get your deliveries up, and you want to find out, where makes, was it Russian vodka? Oh no, my favourite one. This is the most important commodity in naval action. It's Yorkshire pudding, and you've got to eat your pudding, and Yorkshire pudding was the mainstay foodstuff, I believe, of the early 19th century. And so we'll see, where can we get Yorkshire pudding? Let's get that up. Kingston, Port Royal, Kemps Bay, Little Cayman, Port Louis, all the reputable ports really give you access to Yorkshire pudding. And Bimini and Mimbres, and then you see the Spanish, I think that's Spanish Mimbres. Yeah, they love Yorkshire pudding. It's one of the main reasons the Spanish went to war with the British. It was pretty much, it was the pudding wars. So if you've never had Yorkshire pudding, go and Google it and then get yourself some Yorkshire pudding. It's best if you cook it underneath the roast so that the juices of the roast drip onto your Yorkshire pudding. Use a little cradle for your roast. And I'd recommend a bit of gravy and perhaps some pepper. Very nice. So that's the trader tool. Now onto the all-important conquest information. So what happens now is you can either do PvP, so we could do some PvP here around Rio Seco, or I could take a mission, a hostility mission around Rio Seco, and if I was victorious in my mission, I would earn hostility points for my nation, and eventually this port will reach 100% hostility, or in fact the capital does. If you do missions outside any of the, within that sort of white blobby circly thing, if you do missions anywhere in there, and when you take a mission you can choose, in this case, that you want to fight at Costa del Fuego, you will raise hostility. Now if you do that, and this is my other account so I haven't, you would get a list of which regions you've earned hostility points in. Now right now hostility points they're just EP'ing, they don't help you at all. There was talk many moons ago in the forums that people who had contributed most to flipping a port would get preference in entering the port battle. Now I don't believe there's any such of that in right now, but that's where that comes from, and the fact that it's in the patch tells me that maybe when they change the port battle mechanics, that might have an effect. Global hostility levels, so this tells you every nation, colour coded by friend or foe. and it tells us that the pirate scumbags have achieved 100% hostility at Crooked, and again I can go and zoom on that. They've got 42% here at Turks and Caicos, and 29% over here at Ciudad de Cuba. And here we can see that the Spanish, they've not bothered because they've got so many ports, why would they fight? The British have raised hostility here, here and here. Now I believe this will decay after server shutdown, reset thingo. And you say to yourself, but why is it 100% Jeheil? I thought when it hit 100% then it would become a port battle candidate. Well, the reason it sits at 100% now is basically because Britain's already got 2 ports ready to go, and this is effectively the 3rd region or county that they've turned hostile, and therefore it will just sit there on 100%. I suspect that after the reset, Komayaka Wagawaga will drop down some percentage, because I understand that it has decay. Now, whether or not some lovely Spanish player could come in here and do some missions and reduce that, I would imagine they could, because like I say, the port itself has not actually gone hostile. Now, if we click here, this tells you where your nation, so national hostility levels. So that obviously I'm a Brit, so it tells me we've got a small amount here, a small amount up here. We've made a start on Margarita. Cartaneja is about halfway there. Texas, 62%. Puerto Bello, 72%, and so on and so forth. And again, there's one here at 100%, and that's because the Brits have got 2 ports ready to go. What do you mean, Jeheil? Well, here you go. So now again, this lists in time order all the ports that are queued up for a port battle. So here we see the first cab off the rank, well done Cloggies, will be Caracas, which is here, and that is a line ship, so there you go. So that's fitting, isn't it? The first port battle under the newness will be Caracas, and it will be a line ship battle, and it will be at 12:42 server time. So the next one will be the French, who are attacking the British. How dare they? Kind of an easy target for them given its locale. And then the Scoobies, and they'll be attacking them. Everyone's attacking the British. What's going on? This game's rubbish. And then the Swedes, they're attacking the British too. This is a disgrace, this is. And then after that, the pirates are attacking the Spanish. And then we have the Leeward Islands with the Swedes attacking the British. This game should be called Attack the British, not Naval Action. But this is very useful, so it tells you when the battles are coming, so you can set up your defensive fleet well in advance, get some screeners out there in advance, whatever you need to do, get a ship into port, all that sort of good stuff. So that's port battles. That's one of the most important little sub-tabs. And then there's this one, contested. Now, until we get a battle happening, nothing will be here, but this will basically tell you which ports are currently undergoing a battle. So there you go, that's the new map. It's very sexy time. They've done quite a little work, bit of work on it. I do like the fact they've used a nice sexy script for the counties or the regional names. It still needs a little bit of love as far as a lovely looking graphical interface is concerned, but it's pretty good. So just to recap, that's just a search. It's a clever search, so it searches both the county or the regional name and or the actual port name. Your trader tool, which allows you to find which port has stuff available or produces. It doesn't mean the port produces, players will have to produce or consume, so you can sell into it, essentially. Like I say, I don't know if this is reflecting contracts yet. I don't think it is, because I was looking at some stuff in KPR and it didn't seem to reflect the things going. Now actually, just while I'm here, I'll just do another one, because you can now also build buildings that generate labour hours. So if you go like this and you search for extra labour, and then we say which ones produce, you'll see these ports here all you could build labour generators in any of these ports. So if we go to Manzanilla, now it actually costs 500 hours to pull a labour contract out of a labour factory. Why would you do that? Well, it allows you to sell them, it also allows you to trade them, and it allows you to store up labour hours. So if you don't have anything to build for a while, you could store up, you could produce labour contracts and just store them up and then burn them when it's time. And so that's very good. And then some very interesting things just while we're here. If we search for silver, and we all know how important silver is in the game for our manufacturing of mid-grade notes, you'll see there's not that many silver producing ports. So there's Tolu, Triangles, Sandy, Vix, Tuspan, Port-au-Prince, Castration, and Calabello. So basically only 2 nations right now have access to silver. So that's very interesting. That's the traders. So you've got port search, traders, and then your conquest information, your own personal log, across all nations, your nation's particular areas of hostility, port battles that are coming up, and port battles that are being contested. So there you go. That's the new map in naval action. Let's see how many patches that stays like that. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the oceans, and I will see you. That's the wrong way around. Anyway, cheerio.